Hey, so this is Coach Leif. I pulled together a couple highlights from our game this past weekend. I think there's a lot of things that we can improve on and get better, and that's ultimately the goal. Goal is not, winning these games. We really just want to get better day in and day out, and I think we have a lot of room for that. So I pulled up a couple highlights from the game. Um, so I'll just play them and kind of talk through and pause and freeze and we'll kind of go over everything. So we get the ball down in the corner and we can look already. We have one, two, three, four guys all in the same spot. Nate is in great position back here, and then we have Nico around the yellow line. So we'll continue to play this out. Ultimately, we want one of our players to win the ball here in the corner and to play it into like the danger zone right in front of their goal. So I'd love to see one of our players, maybe this is Braden, making a run to that spot, waiting for the ball. As it plays out, Henrik gets it. We end up losing the ball. Gets down to the corner. All right, so Matei is going to make uh, a pass trying to get it into the middle, which is exactly what we want. It gets cleared out. All right, so now here's the position. So we have Henrik and Nate both running towards the ball, which is never a good thing. We want only one of our teammates to be going to the ball. The other one should be standing in a position waiting for a pass. So in this case, Nate is our last man back, so our last defender. He should be in this wide open space in the middle, a little bit in front of the halfway line. Um, there's no, right now, there's no threat. There's no other person on the blue team um, that he has to worry about. But you'll see in a second that that changes. So what should have happened is Nate allows Henrik to get this ball, and then Nate stays up by the halfway line, and then Henrik can either pass it back down to the corner to Matei, or try to get it to Nico or Braden in the middle to get us another chance at the goal. But Nate gets the ball, and Henrik backs up, and Nate kicks it to the middle. And the problem is here, now we have nobody covering on defense, and the ball gets intercepted, and they're off to the races. So if you look at the majority of our goals, that's what happened. We don't have anybody back on defense. We turn the ball over, and they're off and running, right at our goalie. So you'll pretty much see that in all our highlights. All right, so now they have a goal kick, and this is one of our ways that we did really well and created most of our chances was from pressuring these goal kicks. So ultimately, we want the ball down on their end, pressuring them, forcing them to make mistakes, create turnovers, and then creating goal scoring opportunities. So what I tell them is when this ball is kicked, I want these front three sprinting as fast as they can to add pressure to these initial, first defenders who are receiving the ball. The second line, which looks like it's Matei, maybe Nico, and I can't tell who that is on the other side. They shouldn't be back by this yellow line. They should probably be up at the halfway line with the other three because their responsibility is covering this next line of attack. So the yellow penny kid, number 13, and those guys, that's who they want to cut off. They want to cut off the balls to those players. So we'll see how this plays out here. So Braden does good pressuring. Now we want to cut off these passing lanes so they can't get the ball behind us. But what happens is, all right, so Tayeb gets the ball there. Here, if Tayeb is able to get the ball to Braden, then we're off and running and we have a goal scoring chance. Fortunately, it gets turned over, and this is the problem here. So Matei gets sucked in, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people around this one player on their team dribbling the ball. Matei needs to be recognized that his attacker that he's responsible for in the yellow penny is out here and he should be behind him, making sure that he doesn't get the ball, or if he does get the ball, slow it down and allow the rest of our team to come help. We don't need an extra person on the boy with the ball. He's already dribbling into 3 of our own players. So you'll see what happens. He ends up losing it, but it goes right to his teammate, with the yellow penny, and we have nobody behind, and he ends up scoring a goal. So again, we need to be aware of who we're responsible for. We can't get sucked into chasing the ball all over the field, no matter where it is. They did a great job of being spread out and maintaining their position on the field so that when the ball does come out, they have tons of space to run into. So you'll see that. Again, here's the next replay. Again, we have Braden chasing the ball down, Matej, Grant, Henrik, Tayeb coming into closing these passing lanes. And Nate right now is doing a good job of being back, making sure nobody gets behind him. So great, we're forcing them backwards. We end up, getting the ball loose here, and we get a chance on goal. But now we've kind of lost our defensive shape. So we've gotten all our players sucked into our final third. And like I said, they do a good job of staying in their place so that when their team wins the ball, they're in position ready to move forward. So they have 2 players wide open, ready for the ball. We end up cutting it off, but the next pass, so easily if that got past Henrik, it would have been the same thing as the other 2 replays. They would have been off and sprinting at our goal with nobody behind them. So we need to make sure, our last defender is back by this midfield spot, making sure nobody's behind him. But in this situation, Henrik got the ball. He ends up dribbling and passes it in towards the goal. And here, let's look at that again. So Henrik, I would have liked to seen him dribble that further down to the corner and then have a couple of our players run to the top of the box here where he could have played them in to have a chance at goal. So he passes it a little too early or shoots it, and the threat is over because their goalie can just pick the ball up. All right, so another play here. We have Evan stealing the ball. Here we go. So we got created a turnover. We have numbers, attacking. So here's another thing that I want all of our kids to work on. So here, Nate gets the ball, great, and he has Matej and Nico wide open, no defenders, behind them. If he can just pass it to either one of those, we're going to have a great scoring opportunity. But way too much of the time, whenever we have a chance to get near the ball, we just kick it forward as far as we can. And 90% of the time, it just goes right to the other team, and it's a turnover. We need to be much more intentional with our passes, pass it to our teammates. We don't always have to kick the ball as hard as we can. Just a little pass to the side, maintain possession would do wonders. So you see what happens here. Nate kicks it, and the goalie scoops it up. Unfortunately, that could have been a great goal scoring opportunity. So I just wanted to highlight that there were opportunities to score. It's just we need to make better decisions. All right, another play. Again, look at all of our players, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all on the sideline around the ball. And look at their players, 1, 2, 3, they're spread out all over so that whenever that ball comes out of that scrum, they're going to have passing options, they're going to have wide open field. This is a huge field that we're playing on, and we are only occupying a tiny section of it. So again, we need to work on spreading out, using the whole field, using our players, making the other team, run around. But Henrik gets the ball. Should have had, an option to pass it here to Grant. Grant was in a great spot here, but he takes it further down to the corner and ends up losing it. But I want you to see, look, again, look at their players. They have 3 players who are wide open with nobody behind them. All of our defenders are in the corner by their goal. So we have all 6 of our players in the same exact spot, which is very, poor, because any one of these passes, they're going to be off and, running at our goal with nobody in front of us, with nobody in front of them. And here they go. They get the ball out. He's able to get it up to the yellow penny kid, and there they go. So this is over and over again. This is what we saw. So our defenders need to stay back by the halfway line, or at least one of them, making sure that nobody's behind them. Too often we get caught just running after the ball, and that leaves us completely exposed. And here's our goal. So I wanted to show that so that we could see, how we're scoring goals, how we can score more goals. Again, I mean, look at our team. All of us are on one side of the field, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with the exception of I can't see who's standing back there by the goal. But again, and compared to their team, they're spread out much more evenly across the field, waiting for passes, waiting for the ball to get out. It's just this time Henrik broke through, and Henrik's going down the sideline, and we have, I think, Grant, Nico, and I don't know if that's Camden. They should be going towards the center of the top of the box there, because that's where we want the ball to go. So if Henrik wins the ball here, he can play it across, and you have a couple, it creates another goal scoring opportunity. But you'll see what happens. Ball goes down in the corner, and now Henrik's going to try to win it back. Grant right now is in a great spot. If Henrik gets that ball, Grant is wide open for a goal. Nico's in a good spot here, because if the blue player wins the ball, he can cut off the pass, which is what happens. But we don't need Camden in there as well. We only need one player. So we win the ball back, or they get the ball, it's loose, and look, we have 4 players going after the ball. Braden's now waiting for it to pop out, which is what he should do. And they have 1, 2, 3, 4 players. I don't know if we must have somebody back. But again, they are just, waiting for that ball to come loose, and then they're going to instantly have like 3 great passing options, which does not happen when you have like all your players in the same, tiny section of the field. We'll play this out here. And their player actually kicks it to the middle, and Braden, waiting there, great finish, scores the goal. So that's exactly why we say on our defensive end, never to kick it to the middle, because you're just helping the other team. So here we have 3 guys pressuring the ball. He's forced into a bad decision, and Braden finishes with a goal. So again, just wanted to show you, there's lots of ways. We're going to play this team 2 more times outdoors. We have 3 more games indoors on this field. I think there's a ton of ways that we can improve and get better. I mean, if we just play defensive and we have, guys who are, stopping those breakaways, you could certainly cut the number of goals that they scored in half. And then I think if we just make smarter decisions on the attacking end, we could certainly add 3, 4 more goals, and it'd be a lot closer. So hopefully we can learn from this. Thank you for taking the time to watch us. I know we have limited practice time, and it's hard to get everybody to sit down and listen. So I thought this would be a great way for them to learn in between practices. Thank you.